Imagine embarking on an unforgettable journey through the heart of Italy, where every turn is a new treasure and every moment is filled with beauty and culture. You start your adventure in Rome, the eternal city. Next, you venture into the rolling hills of Tuscany, where the air is perfumed with the scent of vineyards and olive grove. The journey continues to Venice, the floating city of canals and gondolas, after Five Earth and Milan. But your Italian adventure doesn't end on land. It's about to get even more extraordinary. A magical journey through Italy, topped off with a house music festival on Costa Cruise. Dance under the stars, relax in style, and discover exclusive performances on deck, all while sailing to some of the most beautiful destinations. There are 3 packages to choose from. Sailing dates are from September 24th through the 28th, 2025. Book yours now at festivaloncruise.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Heidi's house. This is your host, Queen Bee Heidi B. And today's featured guest is an artist, music producer, DJ, Michael Gray. I'm very excited to learn more about his house music journey. So, are you ready? Then, let's go. So, here he is. Michael Gray is in the house.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. A little bit jaded because it's been a very busy weekend with the DJing, and I'm back in my studio at 9 o'clock in the morning. I love being in the studio, but I also love DJing. So, yeah, I'm soldering on, even though I'm maybe a little bit tired, but I'm fine, absolutely fine.
Wonderful to hear. And again, warmly welcome to Heidi's House podcast. This is a little podcast that is embracing the global house music culture and featuring different artists, producers, DJs, influencers, radio personalities around the globe. And we are very honored that you are joining into this episode of ours.
Thank you. I love the name Heidi's House as well. It's great.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. So I explained a little bit about the nature of this interview. So I will then run into our first question straight ahead, which I always ask from our guests because I love to hear how they reply in their own words to this one. Even though we know that you have done enormously successful career in music, and you probably don't need introduction to most of our viewers here, I would still like to hear from your own words, who is Michael Gray?
Oh, well, yes, I've never been asked that in that way. Michael Gray. So I'm a producer and DJ, family man, 3 boys, and I just someone who really absolutely loves making music and DJing out. It's a hobby that I get paid for, which is great. I've been DJing since I was 12 years old, and used to do under 16s discos every month at our church hall, and it just went from there really, DJing and then into the producing, and I love both equally. So yeah, apart from that, I can't think of anything else I could say about myself. I'm quite a positive person. I think that's the right word. I think I'm a positive person, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I will help you a little bit with my further questions.
Go for it.
So now, straight ahead, something came to my mind. You said you started DJing at the year of 12, when you were 12 years old.
Yes.
What inspired you to DJing? What got you to DJing?
I always had music going around in my head ever since I can remember, probably, I don't know, 4, 5. I was always, I had four elder sisters that I lived with, and two of them would be coming home with lots of different types of music, particularly one sister. And so I grew up on a diet of soul music, stylistics, Shy Lights, George McRae, all those kind of early 70s records that I'd hear blasting through her bedroom wall. And not just that, there was just something in me. I was always singing. At school, I'll always be singing every record that was in the charts. I don't know why. I'd just be singing them. I just love melody lines, and of course, the '70s was full of that. So, and then my this same sister, she started dating this guy who was a DJ. He was a mobile DJ. And he come round one Christmas. I remember it very well, 1975. I'm showing my age here, and and he just came round with these two turntables and this mixer that was between them, and I'd never seen anything like it. I was like, oh my god, this is heaven. And the fact that he could blend from one record to another without actually having to take it off and put the next one on. And then he had all the disco lights and everything that went with it, and that was my introduction to him. And we had parties, throughout Christmas. Every night we partied, our family. It was a big family. So, and he let me have a go. And then the next thing, my dad made me a system with, we got two turntables that he found, and this mixer, so I could literally mix from one to the other. And he put it all in a box. He was a good carpenter. I was very lucky to have a dad like that. And
Wonderful.
that was it. And I started doing the parties. And then that would have been about, to be honest, I was doing kids parties from the age of about 10, 11. And then I went up the ladder and started DJing 120 to 120 children under the ages of 16, like I said, at our church hall every month. And we sold tickets, and it was great. I really loved it. Unfortunately, my schoolwork suffered because my head was just full of
Music.
DJ and music and everything. School seems such an annoyance, because by then I actually knew that I wanted to leave school as soon as possible and start DJing in clubs. I just wanted to DJ in clubs. It was like a drug, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I did. That's exactly what I
Wonderful.
did.
And you did.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. I mean, back then, I remember going to the at secondary school, you'd go and see the careers officer, the teacher who'd help you find the career that you wanted, the job that you wanted. And I went in and I said, well, I don't want to do anything other than DJ. She goes, well, we don't have any pamphlets or leaflets on how to DJ. I said, I don't need any. That's just what I want to do. So that lasted about 30 seconds, because back then there was no DJing courses, there was no production courses, not like there is now. You can learn, and there wasn't anything like that. So yeah, there you go.
Wonderful. Such a beautiful, inspiring story. Would you happen to remember what was your first vinyl that you ever purchased by yourself?
I do. I went into the shop and I asked for Boney M, and the track was called Daddy Cool. I saw it
Yeah.
on Top of the Pops. I don't know if you have Top of the Pops in where you are, but
Yeah.
Helsinki. But um, and I went in and I said, "Can I have it?" And I wanted the 7-inch copy, and he said, "I'm afraid we haven't got it. We're out of stock." He said, "Though I have this 12-inch version," and I said, "What's that?" He says it's an extended version, and they'd only just come out in 1975, I think, 76, 76. And I came home and I was just blown away. That was my first 12-inch single, as well as my first single.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wonderful.
I always used to like the bit on Daddy Cool. It's such a cool record. It's
Yeah, it is, and you can still play it anytime. Really, it
mm,
works. It's one of those timeless classics.
it is. Yeah, yeah. I love that. I loved it when he goes, "She's crazy like a fool." I used to love that bit. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I was just like, wow.
I have to say we actually were seeing Top of the Pops also here in Finland during that time as well. Not as a direct program, but I remember we kind of had an extract, or we were having that in a local
Oh,
media. So
yeah.
yeah, we had some kind of knowledge about those things already at that time. Now, so I heard that when you were 16, that you also really got recognized as a DJ. You won a competition. Uh, can you
Oh,
tell
right.
us?
Yes, I did. Oh, well, as mixing DJ, yeah. So a guy called Les Adams, who was known as LA Mix, he had quite a few hits on A&M back then. He was on this a pirate radio station called Radio Jackie, and he asked any budding mixers, DJ mixers, send in, I think it was something like a 20-minute mix of your like whatever you want to send in. So I did it, and I had two turntables which were belt driven, and I had one other turntable which I could vary the speed as we're used to now. Um, and I managed to couple this mix together. And yeah, he rang up and said, "You've won the competition." So I then went in to his studio and watched him mix, and that's where I learned a lot. So yeah, Les is sadly no longer with us, but he was one of the big DJs on Disco Mix Club (DMC), as we know, who do all the scratch competitions and stuff like that. And yeah, so that was quite a big thing. I always remember my dad taking me round to his studio. I was only about, yeah, I was 16. I was 16, and that would be pretty sure that's 1983. I
Yeah,
think it's 1983. Yeah.
beginning of the 90s, and that must have been exciting for you as a young DJ, and it probably opened a lot of doors, and like you were describing, that you learned a lot, and the
Yeah,
story
it did. Yeah,
that
it did.
boosted.
It did in the fact that yeah, that I was doing more local discos as well, and I was getting booked for this and that and various parties, and I was starting to put on bigger nights, my own bigger nights, and not the ones that I did in the church hall, because I kind of stopped them about that time and then went on and did something a bit larger. And again, that really helped. I remember my dad being so chuffed that I'd gone on there. He was so proud.
Mhm.
Um, and he used to tell everyone, yes, he's been on the radio. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Wonderful
happy
to have
days.
that support, and like you described in the beginning, that how he supported you from the
Yeah.
early
I was very
stage.
lucky to have a supportive dad. They never turned around and said, "Oh, you should be doing this or you should be doing that." Never. And I like to think I'm the same with my boys.
Yes, wonderful.
I try my best.
Are they, by the way, into music?
Yes, funny you should say that. Well, they all love their music, and they're now. I've got twins who are 22, two boys, 22. They're not identical, and an older boy who's 24. And one of they come to my gigs now, which is fantastic. I love watching them dancing and throwing their hands in the air and what have you. But one of them now, he decided a little while back that he wants to start making records. So he's doing this right now, and I've just started
Wonderful.
managing him over the last 3 months probably, and we've signed his first single to Sulfuric Records, so that will be coming out soon. So
Oh, wonderful. We
yeah,
have to
so
stay tuned for
I
that.
know he's under the name of Ethan Gray, and yeah, he's done it all himself. I haven't been, you know, producing it for him, and I wanted him to do the whole lot himself so he can prove to everybody, you know,
Wonderful,
it's
wonderful.
about him,
And
not me.
yes, and I have to say that he has also the backup of the cool daddy there.
What, Daddy Cool?
Yeah.
I wish I was.
So, um, you are, of course, well known, and appreciated and respected DJ, still doing the gigs, traveling around the world, performing everywhere, having your radio shows, and everything. Now, I want to start to explore a little bit your path to music production. What got you to music production original?
Okay, well, like I said before, these DMC mixes. I started when I was 19. I'd hide myself away in my studio that I'd built, a small studio, and started mixing, doing mixes. And like 10-minute mixes where you're getting loads of records in and jamming them in and running a cappellas over the top and adding drums, all this sort of stuff. And eventually I got signed to DMC, and which is like a DJ only subscription service. So this would have been about 1986. And that was it. That gave me the bug. Admittedly, I was mixing other people's records together, but then I started remixing. I was also lucky in 1990. I was asked if I would mix together this group of records that had been chosen to say the best of Britain artists, British artists, and it was for the Brits 1990, which then was turned into a single, a charitable single, where all the money went to build our Brit School over here. We have it's called the Brit School, so a lot of that went there, and that kind of felt like the pinnacle for me. That was I couldn't go any further than mixing other people's records together and stuff like that. Mega mixes we called them. And so then I really turned my attention to remixing and making records from scratch, house records from scratch. And back then I started a few rave records because we're now into the 1990s.
Yeah,
And also,
the
yeah,
big
under quite a few pseudonyms. Some people will know what they are, some people won't. And that was a great way of learning the techniques and, sitting there programming drums and playing, that sort of thing. I then I then partnered up with John Pern, who then become my partner for Hustlers Convention. That was the first pseudonym we had. Sorry, Greed, then Hustlers Convention, and then Full Intention. We then merged into, and we did that for quite some time, I think. So, and that's when it started all. Once we got onto Full Intention as a pseudonym, that is whenever the doors opened up and we
yeah.
felt like, oh, okay, we're getting some really big name DJs playing our stuff now, from Pete Tong to Armand Van Helden to, well, pretty much everybody that we thought was like up there and still are to this day.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And the material that you did is also very timeless. It still works in the clubs and in the dance floor, in the radio. Um, and I'm just very happy that you started that path and started to collaborate with John, and then formed all of this legendary duos
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
under different various pseudonyms. And I have to say, my first real like big touch into your artist profile was when you released The Weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a huge also back here in Finland, and I was just playing that again and again and again, and I
Oh, thank
still
you.
I still include it to my some of my DJ sets because that was done and produced in a way that it still works, and it still kicks the
Oh,
butt.
thank you. Yes, I'm even surprised myself. So it's had a second lease of life, I think, which has been fantastic. And I didn't, I couldn't have foreseen that. I always wanted to go out and make a dance record that would stand the test of time. Really, my goal was to make it where in 10 years' time someone might still play it, because
Yeah,
and it had to be a vocal record, because vocal records are the ones that people tend to play in years to come, not instrumentals or dark dark house records. You know, they're great for a few weekends or a couple of months, but then after that, people don't remember them. So I wanted to do something that was hopefully memorable. And yeah, I'm blown away by how many people, especially a lot of younger people now. Um, I think some of them have played it on, including my sons, have played it on, GTA,
yeah.
the games and stuff. stuff like that. So, um, and that's kind of brought in another. So if I'm DJing now, it's not unusual for me to be DJing to a club full of under 25s. It's not unusual anymore. But I could also be DJing to 20-year-olds up to 60-year-olds because I've made a lot of records between all these eras. So, and that's what I love. I actually love a club when it's mixed. It works so well with the different generations. It's
Yes.
crazy. Yeah, yeah.
And everybody enjoying the gift of music and good vibes there. And I have to
Mm,
say, I totally agree with the that element, the vocal element. It is that human connection through the vocals.
yeah,
People can join in, they can hum it along or sing, or
yeah.
even sometimes people remember the lyrics and can try to repeat them and everything. It truly is more about that connection. I believe what makes it much more closer, I would say.
Yeah,
Now,
it touches your soul.
yes, and really, it gives that, that group feeling when you can,
Yeah,
repeat the lyrics and everything. Now,
yeah.
I'm intrigued to know if we think about your music or musical influences. What would you say? Your own productions, that who are maybe the artists or tracks that have inspired you particularly?
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, so a producer that has always inspired me is Quincy Jones, because his stuff is so well produced, sonically amazing, and he's probably one of them. Also, producers and remixers such as John Morales, Arthur Baker, Shep Pettibone, Jelly Bean. They're all very inspirational to me because obviously I was at the age of what, 14, 15, 16, 17 when well, even less than that, when these guys were at the top of the tree. They still are, but I'm just saying, particularly then. And that was what's really inspiring me, thinking, I listened to those records and the way they were mixing them and the fact that they put, they made mixing breaks and they did this and they done, they just made those dance records so much better, and that stands in, for me now. Quincy Jones was kind of different, but his stuff, the way he crafted those, when you listen to those records now, you realize how clever they are. Whether he's producing for Brothers Johnson or obviously Michael Jackson or whoever it might be, it's you listen to them and I'm blown away by the quality.
yes, the genius there and the sound, the musicality, rhythms,
Oh,
everything.
the chord changes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
really, truly, the full musicianship there, and the fact how he uh, had such a long, inspiring career,
Yeah,
regardless of all the obstacles he faced in his journey as well, and then becoming so triumphant. I would say,
yeah,
really, that's
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
word, like legend in the music making. So that's a great inspiration. So for everybody watching this, please go and listen his productions and get inspired of them.
Absolutely. Yes, yeah. Quincy's the king.
So as a DJ, I just now thought that, okay, I'll ask that. Um, that's something that, that may be a little bit more personal question, but when you design your DJing sets, what are the elements that you always have to have in your sets
Ah,
musically?
that's interesting. Okay. So, I mean, I don't have I will put together a playlist and I'll
Mhm.
have probably three times the amount that I need for that set. So I know the records that I'll definitely want to be playing in there, particularly if they're mine and I've just finished them. So that's something new. Obviously, certain records will definitely go in, and then I will kind of work through it. I do play a lot of vocals, I admit, and that's important to me. I do have a sound that's a sort of, I suppose, a disco and house sound, a glitterbox sound now that a lot of people will say. And I like to drop in some classic remixes as well, just to bring the mood up even more. But I will feel my way, see what the crowd react to as well, and how much I can get away with for that
Yeah.
particular place where I'm playing. It does vary, but it's great now because things are slightly different. A lot of people, because I've made the album last year and everything, and other tracks in the past, a lot of people do expect you to play a lot of those records. So
Yes.
it's a bit like a band. You go along and you're expecting them to play certain records. Otherwise, you go away going, well, you don't want them to go away thinking, oh, well, I feel like I've been shortchanged. He didn't play that record or they didn't play that. So you're kind of well aware. I mean, when I do my own Sultra nights, the crowd are very, very, very clued up to their music. They know everything that I'm playing and other people's. So I don't need to drop records like The Weekend. They've
Yeah.
To them that they're then it's not really important. But other
Yes.
places I might go where I've never played that city or whatever, then obviously people expect you to drop it, otherwise it'd be disappointing. And I'm quite happy to play it. I went through a period about 2012 to about 2016, thinking, oh, I'm too commercial, and then EDM music come in, and I struggled. I really struggled to find my identity within the music industry. But now everything's changed, and a lot of us who made records back in the 90s and the early noughties are proud to play those records again. We all went through that period of, oh, really? But then you hear all these younger producers dropping The Weekend and big name DJs, and you think, wow, they're really cool. If they're playing it, it's okay for me to play this, what I saw as a commercial record, but you can't help what it is.
As you mentioned, you have released and still release amazing tracks. And now the next question is gonna be a bit about that. If you retrospectively, if you think about your uh, um, career in music and your releases, what would be the highlights? Some kind of like special tracks for you personally, and maybe why?
Ah, okay. So, this is interesting. Highlights is probably there's lots. I've got to be honest, there's lots, but one of
Yeah.
them is probably when John and I made as Full Intention, obviously, a track called America. It was a cover of semi cover of a Patrick Juvet record, I Love America. And then that's when the doors opened for us. We brought it in as an import from New York, so people thought we were American because back then we didn't really have a British sound. We were more American sounding. That's what we thought. And we also wanted people to just take it on face value. Um, and that really worked, and that opened the doors. Then we remixed Duke, So in Love with You. I heard the record, the original, on a boat in Rimini one night, and I went to see what's this, and then he told me, and I thought on Monday I asked if I could have the multi-track and all the parts so we could remix it, and then
Mm.
that then charted in the UK and around the world, and that's another record that now gets played to this day. Again, it resonates with a younger audience as well as an older audience. So I'm very, very proud to play that. That was a big thing when Pete Tong first played it. Obviously, the weekends, that was a great thing. Going to When I walking down to the film studio to watch them film the weekend video was a real buzz for me. I don't these are silly, these are small things to most people, but to me, I'm just thinking to myself as I walked out the station and walked down to the film studio, thinking I've got to remember this day because it's probably never going to happen again. This is a real, this is such a buzz for me. I've been working so long to get to this moment. My career didn't happen overnight. Not this sort of thing. And just remember thinking how happy I was. And then A couple of weeks later, or about a month later, then asked to go on Top of the Pops and do that, and that was just like wow. And then probably well, there's loads, but another one I remember when John and I was nominated for a Grammy Awards
Yes.
for George Michael's remix. Our remix of George Michael's amazing, and going on the plane to LA and not knowing whether we were going to win or not, but just the buzz of going there and sitting at the Grammys is like, oh, this is good. Um, yeah, I have so many special moments. I mean, there's absolutely loads. I'm really, really lucky. So, um, music wise, yeah.
And we are really lucky that you took that path, even though the counselor didn't have the pamphlet for that, but
Yes, I know.
but the music chose you, and you chose the music. You had the pact very early.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, I did.
beautiful journey. And now, as you know, this podcast is such a short. I think we should maybe done a sequel at some point, to go deeper
Okay,
into
that's
some
fine.
areas. But obviously, you have always new releases coming out, recent ones, and new projects. So could you tell us a little bit prior we finish this interview? What's currently going on, and what is in the plans in the near future for you?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm working on my next album, and that's going to be released next year. I did an album last year called Optimism, and that has I've been really pleased how that one has gone, and that was pretty special for me because I wanted to use a lot of live instruments, real string sections, horn sections, percussion. Added, I had Derek from Jamiroquai on drums over the top of my drums, and I merged the two together. So we got a club feel, but we also got this funky, real drums feel. And that was a real special moment for me doing that. And so I'm excited. I'm halfway through the album, the next one. But I keep having to stop to do remixes and DJ. So then you think, I really need more. I need more hours in the day. But yeah, yeah. But I must admit, because summer's here, I won't work in the evening. I don't normally work in the evening anyway. During the week, I'm getting in that hot tub, relaxing.
Yeah. But that's the thing, the creative mind kind of, when you got that, you are bitten by that bug, so to say. It's always there's always something to think, and
Yeah.
I could be inspired by that, and it's a great thing. I personally have to say that music has done so much good to my life,
Good.
and I can imagine how it has enriched yours, because you can continue and just deepen it, the
Yes.
journey that
Yes.
that can just go further and further and further. There's always something to be inspired of, and to try more and explore and fuse between different styles and so on. So that's
Yeah.
why I always
Cool.
say that the music is such a beautiful thing to have
Yes.
in one's life.
Yeah. 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 Oh, without doubt. If I'm going through a bad time, I can go in the studio and start putting together some tracks and I just completely forget normally
Yeah.
about the problems. It does make you feel a lot better. And normally when I DJ as well, if there's anything going on in the background, you forget about it for 2 hours. It
Yeah.
really does. And sometimes you come off and I think, I don't know what I was worried about now. It's either that or the vodka I'm drinking, but that's at the end of my set, my IAD.
But it's absolutely true. The music had that kind of, the good vibes, and I'm always saying it's like one way it's like therapeutic, it's healing, it's uplifting. It has all kind of different,
Well, that
positive effects into well-being.
100%. And if someone turns around to me, and I've had it a few times, people say, your set made me feel so emotional. I cried through some of it, and other bits I was so happy. And that is when you've achieved something. If you brought out people's emotions, then that makes you think that's one of the best compliments I think I could have.
I couldn't agree more. It is absolutely like that, and it has a power to touch people. It has power to unite people,
Yes.
especially on the dance floor,
Oh, yes.
vibing,
Yeah.
enjoying. Now, if somebody wants to follow you in social media, find you in social media, where can they find you?
Okay, so if you go to Instagram or Facebook, it's DJ Michael Gray Official.
All right. So people, again, uh, go and check his social media out. Go and check out all of those releases mentioned here. Listen also Quincy Jones's releases. You get inspired.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Michael, again once more for taking this moment with us here at the Heidi's House podcast. I'm sending you a lot of love and good vibes from Helsinki, Finland, to you to UK.
Oh,
Woohoo!
thank you. Thank you, Heidi. I really enjoyed your questions. Really good. Big love to you as well, and to
Thank,
Helsinki and to Finland.
thank you so much. So, again, thank you so much and bye bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.